If there's anything that is stressful in the military, it's PCS season. So that's what we're going to break down. A few things, a few tips for you. So hang on tight. Hey, welcome back to the channel, friends. As always, man, I am stoked to see you. You see what I did there? I'm such a goober. Now, all of these things apply from the junior enlisted soldier to the NCOs. But I think there's a few things that apply to us as NCOs that may not apply directly to the junior enlisted soldiers. We're going to move on to a few things specifically for the non-commissioned officer. And I'll be straight up front. Some of this may not even apply to the buck sergeant, and I'll explain those. But this first one does. If you are a non-commissioned officer and you are on orders, do some research and find out who your brigade CSM is. Maybe not the buck sergeant. Definitely if you're a staff sergeant. Send off that CSM an email. You, by all means, do so as a buck sergeant. But you know, if you're brand new to the NCO Corps, have somebody read over your email before you send it to them. But if you're a staff sergeant and you're hungry, you want to be a platoon sergeant, you know, you want to be a squad leader, you want. Is there somebody who wants to go to staff who's not ready to retire? I don't know. But send that CSM an email. I have done this, right? It was probably the number one thing that helped set me up for success when I was moving to Fort Hood many years ago. I sent my CSM an email. I was like, hey, CSM, this is who I am. Here's my last 3 NCOERs, and here's my SRB or my ERB, that we called it, right? And this is what I'd like to do. I'd like the opportunity to train and lead soldiers in any capacity. If there's an opportunity to serve as a platoon sergeant, I would be humbled and honored to do so. And then I just continued on this conversation with a little bit of bio and a little bit about my family and things like this. And he replied back to me, right? He was, I think, thankful, and I think most people would be. You know, if somebody emailed me as a team chief, if they got that through ACT and looking through some stuff, or you know, if they contacted the CSMs like, hey, you know, when somebody says I'm hungry, here I am, send me, man, that pumps me the hell up. I get so stoked over stuff like that. Man, I'm getting stoked about thinking about it right now, that if people would just stand up and say that, and here I am. I know that the team and the organization is more important than I am, and I want to make a difference. I enjoy doing what I do. Man, then let people know before you even arrive. It'll set you up, because otherwise you're not controlling your narrative. And that's you have to do that. And I'm going to talk about that a lot this week. Control your narrative. I had no choice about coming up here to JBLM, that I was going to be assigned to my unit that I'm at. I knew what unit I was going to be assigned to. It was either here or Fort Carson, man. You know, I probably would have won it going either way, but that was my only choice. I didn't get the choice of what company I was going to be in. I didn't get a choice of whether I was going to work staff or in a leadership position. And if I'd left it up to everybody else, there's no telling, man. I could have been stuck in the S3. But I sent an email to my CSM up here, and I said, CSM, I'm coming up, and I want to train and lead soldiers. If there's any chance to serve as a first sergeant, I would appreciate the opportunity to interview with you. And that first diamond seat that came open, man, that sergeant first class got that seat, right? So be proactive in your communication. Contact your sponsor as well, right? By this point in time, you know how the sponsorship program works. So make sure you reach out to your new duty assignment, new duty station when you receive that email and saying welcome aboard, and let them know any questions or concerns that you have. You know, if you were maybe a little bit more of a seasoned staff sergeant, or you're a sergeant first class or a master sergeant, you know, don't hesitate to contact the primary staff. You know, get in touch. I'm thinking especially things like the EOA for the brigade, because that equal opportunity advisor can talk to you about the health of that company or that battalion in a little bit different manner than what you're going to get from platoon sergeant or first sergeant or your sponsor. So it's okay to ask, about the last DEOX survey that was completed and how things were looking then. It may not be a good snapshot of how things are right now, but it would be a good snapshot for a point in time. It's all right to talk to the VA and see how the health of the climate is in regards to this, or talk to S1. Talk to some other principal staff or staff sections. Especially if you have a key component that fits into something. Reach back down and talk to these people and give them a call. The last, but certainly not least, especially when you get people like me trying to find people in global, is get into Stinking Mill Connect and update your profile. Look at me, man. I'm telling you, nothing irks me most when I look for somebody and have not been reassigned to JBLM in Mill Connect, and I got to go to global to find you, man. You're still looking at somebody who's in basic, and you're an NCO. Man, get it together, man. That's horrible. That's horrible. So get in there. It takes like 2 seconds, and make sure you get that thing done. But before you PCS, for all these NCOs who are out there, or even junior soldiers, that is the time to get into S1 and update all your stuff. So we're talking a lot about reporting, but before you leave, right before you leave and before you get there, you have this space in between. And by this point in time, people know who you are. I don't care if you're a specialist or an NCO. People know who you are after a few years. You made some connections in with S1 and S3 and S4 and whatever it is. And so this is the time to work back into S1. Just set up an appointment and update your records. Update your SRB. Give them a copy of everything to batch upload to your SRB. Do this now before you PCS. That way when you PCS and you have a fresh SRB, it obviously looks like you've taken a little bit of initiative to update your records. Man, it speaks volumes. Man, I hope you enjoyed the content of this video. If you did, make sure you like it. Subscribe to the channel if you want to be stoked and stay updated on some future content. Leave some comments down below and we will keep this conversation rolling. And as always, until then, we'll see you.